All right, good people. Welcome to the first episode of the People's Podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a long time coming, um, but yeah, we here and let's get down to this thing. So, the whole purpose, the reason why I'm starting this podcast is to spread information, share information, um, to assist people in reaching their highest self. Um, that's the most succinct way I can put it. So, as we reach our highest potential as individuals, we will reach our highest potential as a community. Um, and that's what this time is about. This time is about collective upliftment. If you think now in 2023 anything is all about you, uh, sadly mistaken on a universal level. Sadly mistaken. So we got to do this together, y'all. Um, which brings me to another point, which is another purpose of this podcast is community connection, building and expanding on our networks, our personal networks, our business networks, our spiritual networks, our financial networks, deepening relationships. And that's not to say every relationship has to go deep, but wherever um, you identify an opportunity for that kind of expanding of what you can offer someone else and what they can offer you, you're tapping into that universal flow. We are tapping into that universal flow. So it is about all of those things. Anything we want to do, it's better. It's going to be better if we can collaborate and do it together because there is a synergy that happens when individuals come together as a collective. There is this person's vibration combines with this person's vibration combines with a third person's vibration, et cetera, on and on and on. All those vibrations come together and they strengthen each other if they're on the same frequency, if they're on the same vibe, so to speak. So we can only strengthen each other. Well, that's actually not true. But if you come together with the right people, you will be strengthened. They will be strengthened. That's the point. Um, and if we work together, we can create a better world for everyone and improve the quality of life for us all. And I think that is another ultimate goal is think things are bad. Things are bad out here. And a lot of folks are struggling in a lot of different ways. And if we can do something that is going to create a better world for people and improve the quality of life, we have a responsibility to do that. So here we are. Um, like the old saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think that's an African proverb. I gotta fact check that. Um, but yeah, it still rings true. It's still absolutely accurate. And if you want to go far and go fast, get down with the People's Podcast. You heard? Okay. Um, all right. So, an introduction into some of the topics we're going to be covering: spirituality, where the physical meets the spiritual, connecting our higher selves with our physical selves. When you can start walking with in your spiritual power, in your immortal, eternal, omnipresent power, when you can channel that into your physical vessel and maneuver with it, create miracles. You can create miracles on the spot. So definitely spirituality and how to safely advance one's spirituality, different spiritual practices. Going to go into all that. Definitely, we're going to be talking about revolution. If we want things to be different, we have to do things differently. This social system has been around in this form for a very long time, and it is not serving the purposes of the people, period. It's serving the purposes of a very small group of people, but there's 8 billion of us here. So something's got to give. Something's got to give. Um, yeah, yeah, we gotta reorganize and reprioritize our social systems, and so we're gonna talk about theories and practice behind that. Health and wellness. Health is wealth. One of my favorite topics. If you're struggling health wise, or if you're sick, or something like that, nothing else really matters. You got to take care of number one first before you can be a tool or be a conduit of any kind of transformational energy. Um, so health is wealth is key, and the physical body is just intricately tied to your mental state, to your emotional state, to your spiritual state. They're all tied together. They're all tied together, and physical plays a very. They all play a. I would say an equal part. Physical is a very underlooked part. People who look at the physical and just think about the body. The body's tied into all that. It's tied into your mind. It's tied into your emotions. It's tied into your spiritual development. So taking care of the body is also taking care of those other things. Um, let's see. In the spirit of the revolution, social activism. What are the methods and the processes and the protocols that we are going to undertake to get this thing switched around? The proper way to change our quality of life in social activism can't um, can't mistake action for progress. All movement is not forward. So if we're not doing the right things at the right time, in the right circumstances, we're not going to get the results that we want. Um, yeah. So we're going to talk about some methods and some best practices when it comes to social activism. See if we can get this thing turned around. History. I love history. I'm a student of history, and I firmly believe. I read this quote somewhere, but I don't remember quite where. I firmly believe the best way to anticipate the future is to look at the patterns of the past. Now, there will be some variations of that along the way. It's not an exact science. But whether you're talking about an individual person, you're talking about a country, you're talking about a way of life, the biggest way to predict the future is to look at what happened in the past, and then make adjustments based off that, based off of what you want to change and what you want to keep. Plus, history is just fascinating. History is just fascinating, and trust me when I say, the history that they have given us in this country, in this world, in our public education system, is basura. And if you don't know what that is, I've been working on my Spanish. That is trash. It is inaccurate. It is incomplete. It is filled with misinformation, disinformation, no information, because they know knowledge is power. They know, well, knowledge can be power, and it has the potential to be power. Um, the real way I feel about it is though the application of knowledge is power. So when you have the knowledge, you have the potential for power. When you start applying that knowledge, you have actually manifested and achieved that power. So we're definitely going to get into some history. A big part of what we're doing is relationships. So we're going to get into just interpersonal, intrapersonal relationships. What's your relationship like with yourself? What's really your relationship like with your loved ones, both platonically and romantically? I think that it's just an important topic to talk about and discuss, and so we're going to dive into it. Philosophy, mental exercises, critical thinking, limitless thinking, um, thinking about things in a way that they've never been thought about before, or thinking about the past in a unique and creative way that's going to help us create a better future. Um, what are the you know what are the systems of thinking that are going to best assist us in creating that world, and making us these powerful beings that we're destined to be? So definitely going to get into some philosophy. Education. I have worked in education for probably about 15 years now, and I truly believe in addition to other things, but I feel like education is overlooked when it comes to ways that we can change the world, because the young people are going to take over all this stuff. They're going to take over the government. They're going to take over the businesses. They're going to take over the neighborhoods. They're going to take over the corner store. They're going to take over the laundromat. They're going to take over the Fortune 500 company. They're taking over everything. So by teaching the youth proper values and morals, by teaching youth a proper ethical code, in a way of treating themselves and treating each other, we can essentially overhaul this whole thing in, a generation or two, all things considered, give or take or whatever the case may be. But the point I'm getting at is that the educational system allows for mass overhaul, mass overhaul. Yeah, and so I want to definitely get into the conversation about what our education system should be looking like. What should we be teaching these young people? Um, yeah, and just the educational system as a whole. I have a lot of feelings about it. I'm sure you do too. Which is another thing. It's not. This is not going to be me just up here talking about all this stuff. This is going to be in the spirit of the podcast. This is going to be the people talking about this. This is going to be you talking about this. This is going to be, we're going to bring in experts. We're going to have people who feel passionately about this subject, who passionately about these topics, and who can speak intelligently on them and speak relatable on them. This is going to be a collective discussion on these topics that are going to transform ourselves, and they're going to transform our world. So get ready with what are you going to contribute to this conversation? Because I'm looking forward to collaborating. I'm looking forward to collaborating with a lot of folks. Um, Politics. Politics. I know a lot of people don't like politics. I really don't like politics, but that's only because of the current nature of politics and the people that it serves, and how it is just marginalizing so many communities to their detriment, lowering that quality of life that we were talking about earlier. Um, but politics are important. Politics are important because in our current system, politics are the way laws are made and the way laws are enforced, and they decide who reaps benefits, who gets resources, who doesn't get resources. A lot of powerful decisions and a lot of things are decided on the political level in our current social state. So it's good to understand that, and it's good to try to, you know, either dismantle the system or use that system to our advantage. We got to do one or the other. But right now we're just passive. We're not dismantling it to the degree that we should, and we're not using it to the degree that we should. So we just kind of sit in the middle. We're just not doing anything for us. So it's gonna get time to get more intentional about that. And one of my favorite quotes, God bless the brother Fred Hampton, man. Politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. So just understand what kind of battle we in. It's not a game, and that brother definitely understood that. We're gonna talk about some current events because the best way to just stay on top of things. It's important to know what's going on in the world around you. I'm not talking about, you know, I don't know, these reality shows and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about significant global events, significant local events, significant national events, significant people, players, and things that are all contributing to this process of what we're going through right now. So understanding current events is a good way to use that buffer between the history and the future that we're trying to create. We're going to understand the history. We're going to know the future that we want to get to. Understanding current events and how those are playing out is going to help us bridge that gap. So current events is definitely critical. And then any other interesting topics that y'all can come up with, that we can come up with, that I can come up with, we are going to talk about them. If it can help advance the cause, we are going to talk about it. And we're just going to go where the universe takes us. So, again, this is going to be a place where we share information with each other, we exchange ideas with each other, we build connections, strengthen our networks, deepen relationships, with the overall goal of creating a better world for us all. Creating a better world for us all. We have that responsibility. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the people around us. We owe it to our communities. And I feel like most importantly, we owe it to the young people. We can't pass them some garbage. We can't pass them this mess that has been created over hundreds, if not thousands, or depending on your historical lens, hundreds of thousands of years. We can't pass this down. We have the ability now to change everything. We've always had it, and we will continue to have it. We have the ability to change everything. Let's do it. Okay? You are an eternal being here to help other eternal beings. Help us get this thing together. Okay? So that's about it, y'all. This podcast is where the power this podcast is where the power meets the people. This podcast is where the power meets the people. So look out for some future episodes. They're going to be coming real soon. This is just the beginning. This is the kickoff. And the revolution will not be televised, but it will be broadcasted. So welcome to the People's Podcast. Ain't no power like power, because the power won't stop. Ain't no power like power,